Whoa, we're back with some Bleach Soul Resonance, and we're going to be doing a bit of a compilation video here of multiple things I want to talk about. So if you see in the timestamp that there's something that particularly interests you, go ahead and look there. Obviously, I always do timestamps for these videos, so it should be pretty easy to follow. We're going to start with that the Mayuri official promo art is out, and he looks great. As for Mayuri's overall design and his skills, I saw some people having conversations about his animations and so on and so forth. I think his animations are really good, but you got to remember he is a support, and that means that his time on field is going to be extremely limited, and I think they know that. I mean, you look at Angiku's animations, and I know there's like a limited SSR, but I wasn't expecting this character to have like Aizen level animations. It would make fights feel so dreadfully slow if you do Aizen's animations, then you do, Kenpachi's animations, then Mayuri comes out and he's got these like screen freezes. The support shouldn't probably have very drastically long animations. They should be characters who switch out. They should be characters who do their animations, and during those animations they switch out. So that is my overall feelings on him, though. We can look at him here. He looks great in this art, man. So let's switch over to the next thing. The next tidbit is going to be a set stamp raider, which is coming from Gota 574. They say they built a free stamp set raider for BSR, and that it takes weights of the stats and gives you a score from SSS to F. Compare stamp A to stamp B side by side. Boundary ascension toggles that dynamically adjust priorities. That's pretty crazy. Subset, that makes a lot of sense because obviously you need less flat crit rate if you're, say, Kenpachi with B2. You need less crit damage if you're, say, Nelliel with B2 as well. Works on mobile and dark. Subset priority guide explaining why certain stats matter. And okay, we're gonna take a look at this. We're gonna try it out ourselves. So let me set up a tool, like a realistic in-game example, and then we'll see how it works. So here I've selected Gin Ichimaru, of course, using Mocking Visage, and I've put in two stamps that I actually possess. Stamp A and Stamp B. Attack percent, best in slot. Defense is a dead stat, we know that. Crit rate, best in slot. Crit damage, best in slot. Ailment damage percent is great. Again, over here, attack percent good and ailment damage bonus great. HP percent low, right? The one piece that I'm actually using, this is my stamp A, is defense, crit rate, ailment. That's what hit during the level up. And for over here, we've got crit rate, ailment. And this is not even a 6-star. So imagine if I hit enhanced technique here, it actually bump up a little bit. You can see stuff like this, right? If you don't actually have the, 3 pieces that'll go into overdrive or whatever, then it doesn't matter. But it looks like the piece that I haven't been using and that isn't level 30 would be a better piece for me in general. So that's something. Maybe that's something. We can go in game, actually. Let's go in game. So here are the pieces I was looking at. We have the level 30, which is the one I'm using, and then I have this piece right here, which I am not using. And I never really came back to this piece, I guess, but I guess the more I think about it, yeah, having the more crit rate, because let's see, if I was at 3 crit rate, I wonder how much more that would be, what the increase would actually be. I wish I could find a piece really quickly that has that amount of crit rate. I'm sure I could, go find it if I paused here, but I don't really want to spend a bunch of time here, kind of going over this. But it is interesting to see, right, that maybe I should be moving that piece over. Do I have any others? I have these two 30s. Let's do these two 30s since they're both, level 30 as said, and we'll come back on that piece and on that note. And here we are, sort of returning to this, and we've got our stamp A and stamp B plotted out here. As we go back in game, we can see that these two pieces here. I think this piece was one I created very, very early on for Gin, and this is the piece I sort of settled on down the road. But yeah, it seems it gets absolutely gapped, Tom, by stamp A. So I do have the right one selected, which means that with something like Stamp B, I could look at this more as an opportunity to maybe feed it. I should actually also, I didn't include that we've got Restrain here, which only bumps it up 1 point, but it does illuminate that I could feed that level 30 piece into this one. So if I wanted to like re-roll it now, I do kind of understand, well, that's not a very good piece, right? So maybe I could just take something like this and, you know, give it a re-roll, right? Because it just doesn't seem to be very valuable. So maybe that might be something I end up doing. This could be something that's interesting as well. I have thought a lot about that second piece there, which does happen to be the piece that I don't know. There's that extra piece that I took off, and it has that bad battlefield skill, it has crit damage, and I've thought a lot about whether I want it to be the one I use or not, so maybe that comes up as well. I could do that one, but right now with my Geen, I mostly want crit rate, and I know that for sure, so it is something I'm sort of just deciding on, just this sort of passively deciding on. But we did see that this was considered a better piece overall, right? We did see that this was, like, in terms of stat weighing, this was considered a better piece overall, so maybe that I should actually go ahead and give this one a star up. And we've got Tactic, increase the technique of ultimate, increase all damage for the entire team. This further increases to 1.2. That's not a very good one, but we'll go ahead and drop this in here. Why not? Get a bunch of stats and see how we improve. Let's see our stats now. It's up to 15% crit rate. So we do get a nice healthy bump, which would bring us up to a 54% crit rate, which isn't too bad. Isn't too bad because we are missing the bonus crit rate from Geen's, like having more of his weapon stamp and what have you. So 54% crit rate, though small, will make it more consistent. Crit damage is not too bad either. Again, the previous piece didn't really have much of that. We didn't really lose off on any ailment bonus, and we still have the one dead stat of HP. We're missing attack percent, but it's not a huge deal. It's not a huge deal in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, there's that resource. You can play around with this lots. Games like Epic 7 have something like this. I don't know if I've ever played a game other than that. Maybe a Hoyoverse game, actually. I think I played Honkai Star Rail, which also had a gear editor, gear importer to help you gear your characters. So again, shout out to Gota who put this together. This is the BSR Stamp Raider, and you can find it right over here in the Reddit thread by Gota574 at this link here. I'll probably put that in the description. Get people interacting with their stuff, because I know for sure I'm bookmarking that site. I'm definitely bookmarking that site. I mean, come on, that site's way too good. That site is way too good. Off screen, I'll probably be going through all of my characters and, you know, ticking some boxes, because I love min-maxing some gear on characters in gear gacha games. So I want to talk about just briefly these two scenarios that have sort of come up in my purview, which is someone saying, should I summon? I don't have Kenny or Geen, and you can see they have 20 full Jade and 69 tickets. And aside from that, if we move on here, we see someone saying, is Nell good at B0, and is she much better than Tosin, or does she need B1 or B2 at a minimum? I'm not a big fan of Nell, and the rotation with Geen, Tosin, and Rangiku is very comfortable for me, but since Mayuri will replace Rangiku, I'm thinking about pulling Nell. However, as far as I understand, at B0 she is not much better than Tosin. Is that correct? I would not really want to pull multiple copies of her, and don't know if B0 really worth the pull. I apologize for the question. I understand that there have been many discussions about Nell. It's hard to keep track of everything, and I feel that time is running out, and I need to make a decision. So both of these things are, both of these things are very valid, and the feel of missing out on needing to make a decision is valid as well. But let us go over to team building, because here's the thing. We're getting about 8,000 Jade when Mayuri drops and we sort of go through the content, not counting tickets, right? I have 7,006 Jade right now. For all intents and purposes, let's just call it 7,000 Jade because it is, you know, pretty close to a flat number. I did a video talking about my free-to-play, completely free-to-play currency that I've spent during this celebration to get Nell to B2, and how much I've earned in total now that I've subtracted that amount, right? And it came out to be about, like, what was it? It was like 6 something. It was 4 point something, 6.3 maybe. It might be 6.3k. That was like the bar that I left with, right, after using my Jade for Nelliel. So 8,000 more on top of that during the next celebration with Mayuri is more than enough to get Mayuri in his weapon, counting tickets. If Mayuri isn't really a landing spot for me, or if I happen to get lucky, I then go into Soifon, the spirit character after, and the anniversary with an excess of stones, of jade, of tickets, of what have you, right? What you sort of need to understand is just make the decision, and this is going to be the most important thing I say when it comes to pulling on characters, is you need to make the decision that's right for you. If you don't really like Nelliel, and you are just chasing this mythical thing of make my account the best it can be, make my account the best it can be, you're going to regret it when they drop something and you don't have, you know, the 10,000 Jade you spent on Nelliel. Ultimately, not everyone is like me. I am a type of person where, one, I really like Bleach, so all the characters are pretty cool to me, but I'm the type of person that I just want my account to feel whole. Some people just want to save. I mean, there's someone on Twitter I saw who's just saving. They haven't pulled on anything. I think they actually recently dipped into a little bit of it, but they're saving exclusively so they can get Soifon. They've been saving since launch. You know, didn't pull on Aizen or Toshido or anything, I think. And they've been saving since launch so that when Soifon comes out, they can B6 her and get her weapon fully maxed without anything spent. Like, you can have that type of consistency, you can have that type of commitment, but is it right for you? If your focus is, I want the most amount of characters to feel as strong as possible as a free-to-play or low-spending player, then Nelliel is an extremely good option. That's just my honest truth. Even at B0, right? Tosin will not unlock your characters like Nelliel will. Period. Full stop. B0 Tosin or B5 Tosin or B4 Tosin, right? He'll make himself look good, and he will be good, but Nelliel is going to do that damage and make the characters just look better. Nelliel and Aizen have one of the strongest things in the game, which is just the ability to give characters a counter hit, right? I really do think that these traits are very, very powerful, and they can't really be compared by just like getting free-to-play dupes into characters. So if your question is like, I am someone who likes to just have the best possible version of my account, should I pull for Nell? I think so. But she is going away in 4 days as of recording this video, right? 4 days as of recording this video, so not much time left. What you could do is plan for the second half of the year. So what I'm saying is, instead of pulling for Nell, instead of prioritizing maybe even Mayuri, or maybe you are prioritizing Mayuri here, because we know from the devs themselves that Mayuri will be a character that they say you do not need to dupe much, or at all, right? They say they don't want you to have to rely on dupes to play with Mayuri. Maybe Mayuri becomes a valuable character for you. Maybe that opens up Soifon as the character you want to put, you know, that excess Jade in that you did not spend on Nelliel then. Maybe that opens up the next character after, the spirit support character possibly, whatever they decide to put in that slot. Maybe this then opens up anniversary drops and Ichigo comes, or half anniversary drops rather, and Grimjaw comes out and he's, you know, best DPS in the game probably. Like, for my money, yeah. I without knowing anything, without leaks or anything, I would assume that Grimjaw is going to be the best DPS at essentially every boundary. Like very like when you verse them against each other. That's how a half Annie works, right? Half Annie into anniversary. That's how those work. So I would imagine so. If you miss out on Nelliel, you'll probably have a weaker version of his team. Maybe he's Soy Fon. Maybe Soy Fon will be the one who carries his team, right? He'll be a strike DPS. So maybe it actually won't matter. But you know, this is just assuming that he's ailment and Nelliel remains the best ailment support or sub DPS tactics character, right? You can just continue to sort of play for the next half of the year. You don't got Eyes and you don't got Nelliel. Well, make sure you get Soy Fon and make sure you get Grimjaw, right? After that, you'll just be looking to fill out the spots that you're now missing where Nelliel would have provided, right? But just don't miss out on like more of these like make sure you're planning your skips, getting your saves, and using your free-to-play currency, because this is a game with pity. This isn't, this isn't playing the first like 10 years of Dokkan, 9 years of Dokkan, and there's no such thing as pity, and you just gotta go, fucking send it with no hope at all. This game launched with pity, a very obvious pity, 80 here, 40 here, and we get a bunch of tickets every single patch, right? So you just need to make your decision. This is a decision game. You don't have to actually you don't ever have to really miss out. And this is especially true if you just want the characters and you don't really care about boundaries, because we get a lot of resources every single celebration, right? So I would just say if you are skipping Nell, then you should plan a dupe down the line, probably would be the best option as a free-to-play or low-spending player. Maybe that looks like duping Grimjaw. Maybe that looks like duping Soy Fon and, playing with Yoruichi. If the Yoruichi and... listen here, I'm so for real. If the Yoruichi and Soy Fon combo is really good, you might not see me pull for Grimjaw. I might spend the tickets that they give us. It's going to be half Annie, so we're probably due for more rewards than usual, right? More rewards than the average celebration, which is crazy because the average celebration has been so rewarding. But if Soy Fon and Yoruichi are very good together, and we're getting a free SSR Grimjaw base form, I might not even pull for the mans. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be so for real. And that just is another banquet, another just huge banquet of savings, because again, this is going to be half Annie. This is probably going to be more rewards than we've seen in totality, right? Like, it's something to consider. It is something to consider for sure. So that is where I stand on Nelliel as we sort of count down her hours. I have not regretted pulling this character at all. This is the only character I've really tried dupes for. Remember that Kenpachi, I just pulled tickets. Whenever I would get 10 tickets from the actual celebration, I would just throw them at him. And if I got him duped, then yay. And if I didn't get him duped, then I didn't care, right? Because this character was also very strong after his buff. So Yoruichi is the only character I've actually commit Jade to duping, and I don't regret it at all. This character does like 400 million damage in co-op campaign and stuff like that, right? She is... yeah, solo damage 521 million. Like my girl is pumping. Like she is really, really her. I'm in top 9. It's been like a day. This is gonna end in 2 hours, and I might make top 100 in solo campaign as a free-to-play player. You know how crazy that is? Look at the numbers people are putting up around me. Like, look at this shit, right? So I don't know. I think she's really worth it, right? I think she's really worth it. But that's all I'm gonna say. I think that's it for now. I've been Lone. Tell me what you're gonna get up to, man. Are you still kind of crunch time with Nelliel? Are you gonna get Mayuri, do you think? Do you think you'll skip and go Soy Fon? I think I might skip. I think I'm gonna use tickets on Mayuri and then maybe not pull on his banner. But it'll depend on how I'm feeling. I do like Mayuri. I like Mayuri more than I like Nell, and probably more than I like Soy Fon. So it's really tempting for me. I'll have to make a decision soon though. With my piddly 7,000 Jade. But with all that being said, like if you like the video, subscribe to the club. We'll go make it, and peace.